Now give me the microphone.
No!
It's my turn. You're watching Today I Grew Up. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hey, howdy, hey partners, it's Today I Grew Up, and today I'm super excited to talk to you about Toy Story 5 and all the news updates that have been released recently. And I'm really looking forward to the movie coming out in June of 2026. So it's a little bit under less than a year now, and I'm very excited for the new movie. So what do we know so far about Toy Story 5? We do know that there's going to be an army of Buzz Lightyears, 50 commemorative or more, not really sure the actual count, but there's going to be an army of Buzz that are going to cause trouble for the gang, and that's something that's going to be an interesting kind of side villain, as you will. These Buzz Lightyears are stuck in demo mode, so they're going to be definitely probably not friendly to the toys and could be a stumbling block in the plot, but we have to wait and see how that's going to happen. We know that Tim Allen recently came out and said in an interview that Jessie has a big trouble and she's going to need some help from the toys. So that's very interesting. We don't really know what Jessie is dealing with, but she has a big trouble, according to Tim Allen. So I'm really excited to hear more of the plot as we know it. We know that she is now the lead in Bonnie's room. So she is the leader because we know at the end of Toy Story 4, she was given Woody's sheriff badge. I remember that. And she took over as lead in the room, which is interesting because Dolly was the lead before that. So I don't know if they're going to explain how Dolly steps down from that role or just things change naturally with time. That to me is very fascinating. And also Buzz Lightyear is kind of Jessie's, second in command. I mean, Buzz is just the leader as much as Jessie is. That'll be really interesting to see the dynamic between how Jessie leads the room. And Buzz is there, I'm sure, to support Jessie in that. I can see that happening. I also hear that Bonnie is now 7 or 8 years old. And so that would make her closer to second grade, which means she is a little bit older now. I was thinking about it, and knowing now that Bonnie is 7 or 8 years old, that's only about a year or two from when we last saw her in Toy Story 4. She was 6 years old, or closer to that age. I'm very curious to see what Andy's role would be here, because let's say it was only like a couple years or a few years from Toy Story 4. So Andy was 17 or 18 by the end of Toy Story 3. So by Toy Story 4, maybe he was a little bit older, and I would say he would be in his early 20s for Toy Story 5, given the timeline that we're seeing here for the development of Bonnie. So if Andy's in his early 20s, it's probably not realistic that he has a family with grown kids anymore in this scenario. I mean, it's possible he could be right in the middle or finishing college or working his first job, possibly. But I don't know. I'm not sure what would happen if Andy did come back for Toy Story 5. It'd be really cool to have him make a cameo appearance, or just at least in the story they can tell us what happened to Andy. What is he doing now? Would love to hear more about where Andy's at in the timeline in Toy Story 5, as well as Sid. We saw Sid as a garbage man in Toy Story 3, working a job there. So it's very interesting to see what happened to Sid. Where is he now? We don't know where his whereabouts are. So it'll be very interesting to hear what happens. It was announced that Bonnie is now addicted to a tablet, and it seems like the big problem is going to be tech versus toys, which was announced officially as a driving plot line. So Bonnie has a tablet device that she spends all her time on, and I'm assuming gives the toys way less playtime, but that's yet to be seen. But it was announced recently that the villain is going to be called LilyPad, which is a tablet device. So how funny that we got a villain announcement. I would consider the 50 commemorative Buzz Lightyears in demo mode part villain, and I would consider this new tablet device a villain, which is really funny, called LilyPad. So that's really kind of comical to me, but it also has a deeper meaning. We're talking about a tablet device that could take a child's time and away from that youthful, playing with toys and imaginative play, which we've seen before, with the playtime scenes with Andy and Bonnie as well in the past movies. So I definitely think that is a fair villain kind of arc to have in this kind of movie, because that is kind of where the times we're living in now in 2025. Technology is definitely a big competitor to the toy market. And so that's really cool to have that kind of, life imitating art. And we have an example in this movie where technology is a threat to, how kids interact with everyday objects in life and creating memories. Is it going to be on a tablet device, or is it going to be playing around with toys and making fun stories and using imaginative play, which is very important for development, in my opinion. So that's going to be really interesting to see and a really fun announcement. We also heard that Woody is with the Lost Toys, and he's going to rejoin the gang at some point to help the toys with Jesse's Big Trouble, I'm assuming, and these commemorative Buzz Lightyears in demo mode. And I've also heard that when Woody does come back, he's not going to see eye to eye with Buzz. Buzz is going to be fighting with Woody. But this is not something that we haven't heard of before. If you watch Toy Story 1, Buzz and Woody fought a lot, you know, and Woody had big problems with Buzz. And I think this is probably something that's going to be highlighted as, you know, a conflict, and hopefully they do resolve it to work together, because that's kind of what happens in these movies. Things happen and people disagree. But if Woody and Buzz get over that, maybe it can teach us a lesson that it's good to work things out, even if you don't agree with someone. So that's something interesting, and I'm very curious to see how that plays out. There was kind of like a leak render, not sure, but it shows kind of like the modern animation of what could be in Toy Story 5. If you look at this photo, let me know what you think about it. I think it's weird that there's 5 aliens, because usually in Bonnie's room there's only 3 aliens. So I'm not sure what that's about, but that was cool to see more aliens. I'm a big fan of them, so the more the merrier for me. I thought that was really cool. And obviously we're missing some characters from this screenshot or this screen grab, but I wouldn't worry about that, because this is just one frame in the entire movie, possibly. And it could be that the other characters are just off to the side, or they're just not in that specific scene, but that doesn't mean they're not in the movie. So I wouldn't draw conclusions or jump to conclusions or assume anything based on this picture. But I think it's really fun to discuss and look at. I really like the animation. It kind of looks like the toys are kind of changing colors with time a little bit. Some more vibrant, some more fading, which is realistic to time, and, you know, things change with time. Toys do fade if you use them or put them in sunlight. So I think that's cool to have some hyper realistic, you know, coloring and shading. So we'll see how it comes out. It looks really great. And then the last bit of news that I have that's new is that Conan OBrien came out, the very famous comedian. He used to have a talk show, and he has a podcast. I'm a big fan of Conan OBrien. He's one of my favorite comedians and talk show hosts of all time. I used to watch his talk shows all the time. And he's really, really funny. And he announced he's going to be voicing a character called Smarty Pants in Toy Story 5. So I'm really excited to see that. You know, we haven't really seen a picture of what Smarty Pants looks like, but it sounds really fun, and I'm really looking forward to the comedic relief or the fun characters that we get sometimes, new characters that we get. So far it seems like the only new characters we're really being introduced to is the villain of Lily Pad and also the Smarty Pants character. Everything else seems to be focusing on the older toys. I really think that's a smart move, because people love nostalgia. They love these old characters that we grew up with in these films. And the fact that Jessie is the lead character, Jessie is driving kind of this trouble that she's in, and then you have these commemorative Buzz Lightyears, which we're very familiar with what Buzz does in demo mode especially, and focusing on Woody and Buzz and the gang and all these things that I'm hearing. It just sounds refreshing in a way, in a nostalgic way, but I think they're going to make it really, really fun and relatable too to the modern time, with having Bonnie being obsessed with technology or a tablet, which is very alongside our modern times. So I'm very, very excited for this. I think that Toy Story 5 is headed in a very positive direction. I fully trust the directing, the writing on this team. So far, everything I'm hearing sounds really, really fun and really great. And I have no doubts that Toy Story 5 is going to be an amazing movie. And it's going to be great storytelling by Pixar as usual. So I'm very, very excited for it. Let me know what you think of Toy Story 5 so far in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as soon as I have more news about Toy Story 5, I'll make some more videos like this in the future. And as always, partners, thank you so much for watching, liking, and commenting on these videos. It really helps support what I do here on YouTube. If you'd like to continue to support me in this journey, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted for future videos on this channel, and I'll see you, partners, on the next video review.
You weren't the real Buzz Lightyear. You're an action figure.
You are a sad, strange little man. You are a sad, strange little man.
You are a child
I don't get it.